Now, good morning, good afternoon, good evening, and welcome to my live. I am Coach Sherri, and it is my pleasure to be here with you this evening. I am, I'm sorry, we're having some technical issues, but it'll be okay. It'll be okay. I'm excited to have this special guest on today. And let me get my information. I had everything right here. You know how it is when you are getting things together and you start putting things away. I see Joshua Gabriel is in the building. Yes, you are first. Thank you for being here. I hope you're doing well. How are things going where you are? Is the weather getting warmer? Well, this channel is about workforce development, career readiness, entrepreneurship, real life, real issues, and real talk. And tonight we're going to be talking about real issues, real life, and have real talk around that. May is the month of National Stroke Awareness. I'm hearing a little feedback, a little bit. It's okay. And I really wanted to recognize it. We are on the last day of May. Turn this down. Maybe that'll help. We are on the last day of May, and I really wanted to recognize National Stroke Awareness Month. And before I bring in my special guest, I also want to recognize that today is day 61 of me going live every day for 90 days. Oh my goodness, can't believe I made it. I am 61 here on the days of this challenge. So thank you all for your support, for those that have been coming into the live chat, as well as those that have been watching the replay. So in 2023, the hip hop community had a campaign on or during National Stroke Awareness Month, and they said the stroke is no joke. And Dougie Fresh was one of the spearheads of that campaign. And stroke is not a joke. And I also want to dedicate this live to my oldest brother who has had two strokes. And by the grace of God, he is still here and kicking live. Strokes are no joke, and they will sneak up on you like a thief in the night. And I'm honored to have my friend here and here, if you know what that means. I'm so happy that she was able to change some things in her schedule to be with me this afternoon, this evening, and come on here to help you understand the heart and brain, the stroke connection, and give you tips on how to recognize the signs of stroke and also share her story. Her story is so dynamic. Now, I'm going to give you a little background on her. Her name is Vashti Hale, and Manage My Success LLC is her company. And it's a company committed to coaching, mentoring, educating, and training people in the areas of professional and personal leadership development. Her company is dedicated to providing educational tools to organizations and individuals that are most vital to closing the growing gap between struggling and success. And we know that a lot of people have those challenges. They have those struggles. They don't know which step to take, they don't know where to go. And she helps them comb through that and get to the success that they deserve. Vashti Hale is the owner and lead trainer of Manage My Success LLC and has an enduring passion to lead, direct, and positively impact the lives of all she encounters. She is proficient in project management, training, curriculum development, along with meeting and event facilitation. She has a unique ability to communicate and build rapport across diverse populations. Her charismatic style, authenticity, direct yet non pushy approach, along with over 20 years in corporate America as a legal as a lead trainer and facilitator, has earned her such titles as Courage Catalyst, CEO, Chief Empowerment and Encouragement Officer, Inspirational Educator, and Crisis Manager, just to name a few. Vashti has gained national recognition for her work with various community groups, corporate organizations, and Fortune 500 companies, along with the creation of life changing training programs. The Distinguished Toastmaster Award, licensed realtor, life insurance agent, life insurance producer, and certified life coach and Zumba instructor are just a snippet of Vashti's broad experience within various industries. She has authored a resource binder to organize your medical, financial, and personal affairs called Life Matters. And if you look on the top of the chat, I have pinned the link to the SD account where you can purchase her book and review it. It is an amazing book. I actually have my copy right here. I don't know if you probably can't see it, but I have my copy right here. Again, it's pinned at the top of the chat as well as in the description box if you're looking at this live in the replay. I see Slasher Chick has made it into the building. How are you? Great to see you. And I know, Joshua, you were saying some things. It was warm in your area. Okay. And I'm not 61 years old. My days of going live, I've been going live for 61 days straight, Joshua. I'm doing a 90-day go live every day challenge. Well, I still am close to 61 though. Let me stop playing. And I see Regina Lynn Lowry is in the building. Thank you for tuning in. It's hard for me to see the chat for some reason when it goes in. You're happy to hear Vashti present. Oh yeah. So I've known Vashti for many, many years, and we've done businesses together. We've done coaching, just a lot of things. I've seen her professional growth. I remember when she had her stroke, and I went to her as soon as she came back to her home, and because she was out of town, but I'm going to let her tell the story. And I just think her story is so dynamic and powerful. And I'm hopeful that you will be able to glean some nuggets, things that can help you save yourself as well as loved ones that's in your life. This is not the first time that Vashti has been on my channel. She's been on a couple of other times, but some stories just keep giving, and I just think that, especially with this being the last day of May 31st, the last day of National Stroke Awareness Month, that it was just timely to end the month with this recognition. So often when there are months where things are being recognized, national month of this or that, there's so many activities in the beginning and the middle of the month, and then as the month goes to the end and fizzles out, you hear nothing else about it. But stroke is not a joke, like they said last year in the hip hop community. And we have to take it seriously, not just for the month of May, but every day. So I just want to give you a little bit of background on National Stroke Awareness Month. Um, it is observed every May to raise awareness about the symptoms, risk factors, and prevention of stroke. And there are some key points, and you can also look this up. And I know Vashti is probably going to share some things, but strokes are the fifth leading cause of death in the US and a leading cause of disability. Over 795,000 people suffer a stroke each year. So Vashti is going to share what her symptoms and her experience was, and also her age. Y'all, everyone back in the day used to be, people of a certain age would start having all these challenges, heart attacks, strokes, cancer, things of that nature. But now it's happening to people in, much younger age groups. And it's a lot of times it's no fault of our own, but stress is a real thing. Sometimes you can enjoy what you do and love what you do, but sometimes because of all that you do, that can be an added stress that can cause other issues with your body that you just don't know. And let's see, I see Slasher Chick is saying thank you for sharing the topic. You're welcome. It is very important. Thank you for the congratulations as well. And Atanya W is in the building. Thank you for being here. And everyone, I hope you have your pen and paper ready so that you can capture these nuggets. I see Stephen Means is in the building, giving some claps and fire. I know those are for Vashti. So thank you. I appreciate you all for being here. All right, without further ado, now I want to bring to the stage Miss Vashti Hale.
Hey, Sherry. Hello, hello, hello.
Hello, Vashti.
How are you?
I am doing well. How are you doing?
I'm good. I'm good. Congratulations, day 61.
Thank you. Listen, I haven't done 61 lives in the past 16 years, which is how long I've been on YouTube. But this has been a wonderful experience. Mhm.
Well, of course, kudos, kudos. We know day 90 will approach and you will obviously be gleaming and continuing to shine on. The world needs more Sherrys.
Thank you, my sister. Thank you. So, Vashti, I did do your bio, I gave the introduction, but I want you to tell your story. So, I'm going to leave the stage so you can have it all to yourself.
Oh, really?
Mhm. Yes. I want you to share from the beginning to the end and the signs that you experienced and what was going on in your life.
All righty. So, hello, everyone. So, I've never done this by myself. I normally have the moderator, but let me just say thank you, thank you, thank you for those of you that are tuning in. I know it's a Friday, the last day of the of the month, but here's my story. So, age 44, October 2015, I was in the happiest place of the world, so they say, Disney World. I was on business, and essentially what took place was en route. And let me just say this, I was living in South Carolina, where I still reside, and we were driving to Orlando, Florida. And essentially, I was feeling kind of tired, but of course, anyone that has ever done a car ride, you have the dynamics of, being in the car. So I was feeling tired, but I pretty much said, okay, it's kind of a long ride. There was traffic. Let me just get to the hotel. And I was with a business client, and the goal was to work a day, and then the next day was just going to be outlets and all things Orlando. And so we checked into the hotel, probably about maybe 6 or 7 o'clock. And as we were in the hotel, I felt like the room was spinning, right? And we'll talk about stroke symptoms later, but the room was kind of spinning. I had a slight headache. So I figured, let me just go on and lay down. So laid down. At that time, my 13-year-old daughter was in middle school, and we had uh, a kind of like a routine that if I was traveling, that I would go on and wake her up in the morning and make sure that she was up and running. And so I did call her. She missed the call, so then I ended up calling her father, where she was at, and unbeknownst to me, I had had the stroke. So what took place, if you've ever seen a movie or watched a movie where it's almost like a out of body experience, you're like, can't, no one can see me, no one can hear me. And that was kind of what was taking place. So I'm like, this isn't a good thing. So fortunately, he asked me if I had my iPad and to FaceTime him. I could not even articulate master to get the iPad up and running. And so what he said, I think you've had a stroke. So fast forward, knock on the door, fire department is there. Yes, they are first responders. We were in the heart of a Disney World, Disney World property, and I was rushed to the hospital. So when I got to the hospital, I say this, and I've told this story multiple times, but I said the 6 words that changed my life. They said, "Ma'am, you've had a stroke." Again, age 44 is 2015. I'm traveling on business and I was devastated. Of course, obviously, it's not hearing something like that at the age of 44 was something that I was not prepared to hear. And I don't think anyone is, but I say that because Sherri essentially stated at the beginning of this live is that so often we think, oh, I'm too young for this, I'm too young for that. And I will say that that was not the case. Let me just tell you that there were no underlying issues. So I was a little bit heavier, but I never had high blood pressure. I never had cholesterol issues. I never had anything. Did I have a lot of stress? Absolutely. So they said, "Ma'am, we're going to take good care of you." We went through a CAT scan. And finally, when I came through a lot of the tests, they said, "Ma'am, you've had a stroke, and this isn't even your first stroke. This is the second stroke." I could not speak, but I did ask them for pen and paper because I was like, let me at least see if I could write. So my writing was a little bit off. I was kind of jumbling words as far as the things I was trying to write. And so finally, they said, well, we're going to, go stroke care, but there's a series of tests that need to be done. So by day 3, once my family arrived and we were going through a series of tests, I had 7 doctors, excuse me. And let me just say this, and you all, anyone that has dealt with a stroke or dealt with a stroke victim or survivor, because I'm not a victim, there is something for me that I still have, and it's called aphasia. So aphasia, for those of you that knew me back pre-stroke, some people are able to chime in, other are not, but it's almost like a 15 to 30-second delay with certain words. And especially if there's nervousness or anxiousness or those types of things, that's what took place. So essentially they found out that the reason for the stroke, excuse me, was I had a hole in my heart. So I had what's called a congenital, heart defect, a CHD. A lot of times people are born with it. In some cases, it closes up. So while Sherri said the hip hop community said strokes are no joke, in my case, I said this was the stroke that made me woke. So of course, they decided that they would need to do heart surgery. So of course, I'm like, is it going to be a cute scar? But they told me no, they'll go in through my groin. It would be a device that would be placed in my heart. And there would be 3 things that I would no longer be able to do. So you can imagine that I was like gasping, clutching. So the 3 things that I am no longer able to do is skydiving, scuba diving. And scuba diving, I can go beyond, I think no further than 5,000 feet, and then also mountain climbing. So I was a little bit bummed with that because, as you can imagine, any of y'all that know me, I'm always jumping out of a plane or scuba diving. So in all seriousness, so I was okay with that. And then it was the speech therapy. It took me 7 months to get what I would say, even at maybe like a 75, where I say some days I'm at like 75% if I'm sleepy, but the speech therapist, when they finally, set me free, they said you're at 95%. So that 5% still kind of lingers. Again, depends on what's going on. So let's talk about strokes by the number. And so actually, before I do that, let's talk about stroke symptoms. So in the stroke world, there are symptoms, and the acronym for stroke symptoms is B FAST. Many years ago, it just had been FAST. And so that FAST was, the face drooping, arm weakness, speech therapist, time to call 911. The B is the balance and the eyes. And of course, thinking back, as I stated when I started the story, when I was coming into that hotel, I felt off balance. Again, the room was spinning, but again, based on that time of night, the fact that we were just trying to, get settled in. And sometimes, let's be honest, and especially I'm going to talk to us ladies, when we're feeling that way, we tend to not even be truthful or honest to say, hey, this is what I'm feeling. So, and then with the eyes, it would say, hey, does that person have a sudden blurred vision? Do they have double vision? Is there, complete vision that they're unable to see out of one eye? So for those of us, and I say all of us are caregivers, not just caregivers from a standpoint of someone being older, because again, I was 44, so that was 9 years ago. So the stroke symptoms that I would leave for everyone that is watching this live is be fast. So balance, eyes, face drooping, arm weakness, speech difficulty, and time to call 911. There are two types of strokes. You have the ischemic stroke, and then you have the hemorrhagic stroke. I had what was called a TIA, so that first stroke, and 87% of all cases are what the type of stroke that I had. So that is the more common one. Stroke by the numbers, 55,000 more women than men, and I smile, experience stroke. What are some of the leading causes? High blood pressure, high cholesterol, diabetes, smoking. Those are just some of the leading causes. So, one of the things that I would definitely want to enable and encourage this audience is to know your numbers. A lot of times, and especially this is to my fellas, my guys, they tend not to. And of course, I'm not obviously being gender biased, but just calling it what it is. A lot of times, men don't tend to do the monthly or the yearly types of exams. And then unfortunately, how many of us do we know that people that have waited until it's too late, until they're in a stage something that it kind of is, there is no turning back. So I would definitely encourage everyone here to know your numbers, number one. Number two, go on and have the yes, thank you, Tanya. My first cousin is on here, and yes, she always reminds me that I am a blessing, I am a miracle, and so I would definitely encourage everyone here, know your numbers. If it's a scenario of being in a place of feeling, well, oh, I don't want anyone to know, because maybe we're going from a standpoint of being overweight or being in, I'd rather have that conversation and figure out from a preventive standpoint as opposed to from a standpoint of a first aid. So think about it. Do we want to take vitamins or do we want to have medicine? I say give me the vitamins. So definitely know your numbers, lifestyle. Again, I'm very transparent. For those of you that do know other parts of my story, I was in the middle of a separation. And that was when all of this took place. So 2015 was an interesting year, a transformative year. But one of the things that I will say is that it's one of the things that when I look back now, I'm here to tell the story. There are so many people, especially when I was going through cardiologists, rheumatologists, hematologists. Hey, sister, my sister Mecca is on here. So one of the things that was just so challenging for me, and I still kind of get choked about it, choked up about it, is that I'm 44 years old, right? And I've had a stroke. I have, two children that are looking at me. It's like, mom had a what? And let's be honest, sometimes we're, superwoman, but at that point in time during the recovery period, I had to retire my cape. So if I would leave today with some words of wisdom, again, know your numbers, have the conversation with your loved ones, go on and make that appointment with those medical professionals. And if for some reason it's a medical professional that you feel like, okay, there's additional information, or I'm not, the bedside manner isn't what it is I'd like it to be, guess what? You have that power of choice. Even in my journey, even now. So, what now? So 9 years later, are there any residuals? Yes, as I was stating, the aphasia comes and goes. And now that I am a woman of a certain age, any of you that are familiar with that lovely M word, menopause. So now I have to be very intentional about some of the things that I feel. So when I get heart palpitations, I'm like, all right, what is this? And so I saw a comment that came up earlier, definitely water. I had an event back in February where I decided that, well, I didn't decide on it just on purpose, but I was dehydrated. And next thing I know, there were EMTs walking on top of me saying, okay, ma'am, you fell out, And so fortunately, there was nothing neurological. It was just a scenario that I was dehydrated. And so again, know your body, and you are your best advocate. I definitely say eating better. Do I veg out sometime and not it with vegetables? Absolutely. But I would also say be clear about understanding where you are, how you're feeling, and have an advocate, have someone that you're able to talk to and say, hey, this is what I'm feeling, this is what I'm not feeling. Don't hide it, because of course we definitely need each of you here. So I'm going to do something a little bit untraditional. Sherri is, of course, off the stage, but does anyone have any questions that you want to screenshot or send through the comments? Let me just say thank you, thank you, thank you, thank you again. Oh, there's Sherri. Ah, there you are.
I was not far away. Vashti, if I'm speaking, can you mute your phone?
Yes,
Because
I
I
am.
have a question. Oh yeah, that's great. I think. So could you share with us what your therapy was afterwards?
Absolutely. So the therapy was a series. So, and hopefully you're talking about the speech therapy. The speech therapy was, I mean, they took me way back to the point that I literally had to do like nursery rhymes. So they gave me like multiple syllable type of words that I would have to rehearse. They also put different things like in order as it relates to noun, verb, because again, I could not talk. And so that was therapy that was 3 times a week. It was done at a local hospital. And so that was the dynamics of, at least from the speech therapy standpoint. There was 2 occupational therapy visits, but of course, the strength in my hands were fine. There was no face drooping. So that was as it relates to the therapy for speech and occupational.
And how long was that therapy?
Great question. So, speech therapy was 7 months. The occupational therapy, those were only 2 visits. And that's the other thing for anyone that has dealt with stroke themselves, or even has, loved ones. Push these insurance companies, because essentially they told me I was going to have like 4 speech therapy sessions. I said, I can't still say my name. What do you mean 4? So definitely ensure that you are being an advocate for your own health when it comes to that. So 7 months of speech therapy. And then for the occupational, there were 2 visits.
And I have another question. I have a lot of questions, although I know some answers, but I hope that can everyone hear this feedback? Is regular? Oh, okay, good. So I remember you before, during, and after, and you had to rebrand yourself, reinvent yourself afterwards. How did you how did you do that, and what did you do?
Great question. Rebranding. So rebranding was challenging because I was talking for a living. So now coaching was not even a option because and there was cases where I was struggling to pull words together because in my head is there, but coming out of my mouth it just wasn't. So one of the things that my therapist pushed me to do, she said, Vashti, start writing. So that computer, pen, those were the things that I pulled together to ensure that I was communicating effectively Sherri, sorry about that. I muted myself. Sorry about that. So, in that rebranding, it was a lot more writing. Okay, I need to tell my story as it relates to what took place and how important it was to have the information as a caregiver as well as your loved ones to be able to say, hey, at a glance, these are the medications, this is that. Even making sure the final needs arrangements, because again, the stroke was one thing, but then heart surgery was 5 days later.
Okay. I'm I apologize to the chat. We had some technical difficulties a little earlier, so I'm just trying to figure out the best way that we won't have as much feedback. But okay, I see that, when you did your rebranding, you had to pull in your family, your son, to help you. And was that a challenge, or did you find that I know your children have always been supportive of you, but was that a challenge for them to have to, not have to, but to support you in that way? I mean, as children, as people, always find ourselves in that sandwich generation. And at that moment, your children found themselves in that sandwich generation. So how do you think, this is the question, how do you think it impacted them? A roundabout way, I'm sorry.
No, no worries. So I would say what impacted more so my son, because of course, my daughter was, still a teenager, and so, still school age. For him, it was now pivoting to understand all the dynamics of the business, and for me to be a little bit more intentional of removing some of my, micromanaging. Uh, so uh, I gave him, the wheel and had to be the passenger many days, and that was challenging. And again, the other part of it was listening to my body. I say this all the time: your body has rights. So when I was the person, that would, right, even right now, our office hours are 7 a.m. to 11 p.m. Couldn't do that during that first recovery period. So the rebranding meant changing those hours and being able to be intentional and saying, no, these are the times, and work within that. But my long answer with that, it really wasn't too much of a challenge as a challenge once I let go of the reins. And I think the biggest thing now is just kind of just trusting the process.
Very good. I want to fast forward a little bit to where we are now. And I know during COVID, you did another pivot because of things that you experienced and things because of your businesses, your insurance business, your notary business, and you were seeing some of the challenges that families were having who were caregivers. And, with COVID, especially people in the hospital not having their paperwork, we call it, together. So, do you have because they can't see my copy of your book, but do you have it available? And could you tell us, as you move back a little bit, tell us the premise behind it, um, why you felt that what you put in that book and what's in the book, and why you felt those things were important, especially not just for caregivers, but for literally everyone, because we all have a beginning date and an end date, and we are just living in the dash. But we all need to be prepared. So tell us more about your book, Life Matters.
Absolutely, absolutely. So I have the sloppy copy, if you can see. My Life Matters. And this is not a page turner. It's actually a binder. It's a binder that you can organize your medical, your financial, and your personal affairs. And let me go back to your first question. So once COVID took place, that was a challenge for a few different reasons. I was actually in New Jersey assisting with my father when COVID took place. So my son was managing the business here in South Carolina and then still working a full-time job. So with COVID in South Carolina, their numbers were a little bit lower than New Jersey, and they really weren't taking it as serious as some of the other states. But one of the things that was obviously that was the same in all the states is that you had to be essential services. So once we recognized that we were essential services, I think the public, it must have been, the word got out. We were actually one of the only people that could come into hospitals, nursing homes, assisted living facilities, jails. And it was interesting because when we would walk, especially on the COVID floor, which of course I kind of had to be very, precautious regarding that because I'm immune compromised. Because, of course, when you have a stroke as a result of a heart condition, now that puts you in a different risk factor. So we would literally say, hey, keep the pen. And initially we started doing like FaceTime signings. So where the loved one would go into the hospital room, we would see the loved one, that the person that needed the documentation signed, and then we would put our seal and kind of go from there. So that pivot, we saw so many people during that time frame. And it was in that time frame, actually, in dealing with my dad's medical issues, having had my own medical issues, and now seeing the upswing on people needing these documents, that this binder was birthed. Because unfortunately, a cookie jar or the cookie tin should not be where our documents are. I know I often see a social media post or say, I'm asking my mother where my document, my birth certificate and the social security card, and the mom is looking underneath a mattress or it's in the big table Bible. That cannot continue to be. And one of the things that I've learned, and of course, and I kind of go back and forth because, I know this is AI world and everything is digital, but unfortunately there are places that you still need good old paper. And if one thing that I've learned, and we learned that back in February, AT&T will disappoint you. And if you are in a place where you are totally reliant on technology and not having a piece of paper, that's not a good thing. And so you said something, Sherri, you said we're living in the dash. So I said, we're between the B and the D, and the C is that change. That's, what are you doing in that dash, right? What are we going to do to ensure that it's not just how we live, but it's also how we leave, right? And so, of course, this isn't the plug from an insurance standpoint, although I am an insurance broker and I will happily review any of your insurance policies to make sure that you got the right amount and the right type and all of that, because that's another nightmare that we encountered. But I will say with this particular binder, I just felt that it was so important. And I look at it from this standpoint. Right now, if I say, hey, such and such is getting ready to have a baby shower or a wedding or whatever, immediately menus come up. What are we wearing? What the flower girl is going to be, the ring bearer, the venue. But that same type of conversation needs to be when it comes to your financial, your personal, and your medical affairs. Go on and have someone that is your HIPAA representative that the doctor can talk to in lieu of you. Because again, I was 44, had a stroke, and could not say my name. So hopefully that gave you a snippet that answered your question.
It did. It did. So, could you share some of the things that you have in the binder? Because I look at it as a resource binder.
Absolutely. So the binder is definitely a resource binder. And one of the things that we have in the binder, we have an introduction. So it tells you all about the things that, you really should have. I have what's called a caregiver's document organizer. So this will not just have you, again, it's not you take it and, you figure it out by yourself. I've put a checklist in this binder that you can sit down with yourself and with your family and say, okay, where is the title to the car? Where is the deed to the house? Where are our insurance policies? Is there a list of my medications? Because again, think about if you're quickly having to leave a home, as Sherri has shared. Sherri and I, we've been around a few years, but Sherri was actually, in Louisiana when Hurricane Katrina came, and
It wasn't good. It was Hurricane George before
that's right.
Katrina.
Hurricane George. Sorry about that. So, to have to leave quickly, you want to have the ability. And of course, yes, pictures are great and safe deposit boxes are good. But let's be honest, there's some things that need to be tangibly where you can at a reach, not waiting for a bank to open or that type of thing. So we have a caregiver's document organizer. We have a sample filing system because, of course, tomato, some places say, hey, 10 years of documents, 6 years, 2 years. So it gives you just a breakdown of the type of filing systems. And then I have tab sections. So your health insurance, your health records. When was your last, doctor's visit? What medications do you use? What type of conditions do you have? That needs to be written down. Income sources. We just came through, tax season. So being able to have your W-2s or pay stubs or 1099s all in one place. Identity records. We went to renew our passports 2 years ago, and I'm again traveling, and my daughter goes, "Do you have my do you have my birth certificate?" I'm like, no. And it just worked out that I was in Jersey where she was born, and I was able to quickly, grab it. But where are your birth certificates? Divorce decrees. And again, being a divorcee, you'd be surprised how often I'm asked for a divorce decree. And then there's the legal documents. And so here's my plug for everyone for, again, as it relates to the stroke part, that's good. But I say that everyone on this live, please make sure you have a durable power of attorney. Please make sure you have a trust. Please make sure you have a healthcare power of attorney. Make sure you have a living will. And also, of course, still with a will, but I always say a trust is better than a will. And no, I am not an attorney, but these documents will make your life so much easier. And then for things that you're not going to put in a trust, at least put a beneficiary on your account. So a payable upon death. So that again, it's a last love letter from you to your loved ones. So we have the legal documents. We have a section for life insurance. We have a section for passwords, right? And then there's also a section for phone contact. So again, if something were to happen, or not even something, let's not even talk about it from something would happen, just the ability to be organized. You grab this binder and you're like, hey, everything's here. And I give some ideas in the binder that you can make it yours, get very creative with it. And for anyone that, of course, gets this binder, you get the ability to coach with me, complimentary, one session where I can take you through just continuing to organize it. And as additional additions and phases and different rules and things from a legal standpoint take place, I ensure that I send out to each of my clients.
I love it. I'm so proud of you with this.
Thank you.
And I see that, let me turn this all the way down. I think I have to do it on my end. Okay. I see that Mel has a question for you.
Okay.
And her question is, she says, Vashti, thanks so much for sharing your story. You mentioned how we should know our numbers and take vitamins. Do you incorporate stress management activities as well? And she's saying,
Oh,
for example, medication, etc.
absolutely. Yes, Mel. Thank you, thank you, thank you for the shout out. Yes, definitely knowing your numbers is extremely important, and vitamins. And again, each health practitioner is going to tell you something a little bit different. Like for me, I was very, and still am, very vitamin D deficient. So I do a prescription version of vitamins. And definitely with the numbers, like anytime my bottom number as it relates to a my blood pressure, I always ensure that I'm like, all right, what do I need to do different? So that's when incorporating stress management activities. It can be, walking. And again, I said the only person that I'm in competition with when it comes to if I'm on a treadmill and the person next to me, they're incline 10 and I'm at 1.5. That's fine. I'm still moving. So I do Zumba. I jump on a treadmill. I walk outside. I go to aqua aerobics. And I usually do the 8 o'clock class where I'm usually, the youngest person, which is okay. In fact, recently when I got out of the pool, one of the gentlemen said, "You look different with your clothes on." I was like, "Oh, okay." And then the meditation. Of course, I know in this culture and climate that we're in, when it comes to meditation can be however you meditate is different. It's different person by person. For me, it's most of the time music. It's a warm bath. It's my journaling. It's my favorite show. It's that ability to unplug, right? So that's a source of meditation. And then, but let's talk about when you are at a place where, I say where the alarm is sounding, you feel yourself going, da, 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 da. I definitely am at a place of being at a place that's like, okay, how do I take myself out of where it's going on? So like mindfulness, right? And so I will say mindfulness has taken a different approach in my life. And I'll give you a perfect example. So everyone that's right now on this live, right? Think of your favorite color, right? Think of your favorite color. Everybody think quick, 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 quick. All right. Five me 4 things around you that are your favorite color. Everybody got it? So right then, you were no longer thinking about anything else that was going on. You were thinking about the 4 things that were your favorite color. So you see how easy it was in that moment to be mindful, and you're not thinking about the issues. You're not talking about, you're not in a crisis, coordinator role. So that's where mindfulness has been exceptionally helpful for me. Breathing definitely has been essential. And then hydration. Water is no joke. Your body will give you some signals. And again, I like when my body is using its inside voice, because typically by the time it starts using its outside voice, it's not a good thing.
Wow, those are all great tips. I'm going to turn this down, Vashti, and if when I have another question, I will turn it up so that they can hear you. Okay.
Okay.
Trying to figure this out on the fly. So we learn as we go. Um, I see a lot of people have come in, but before I show them to you or you can speak with them, someone did ask where can they find your binder, and I want you all to know I have the link to where you can get the binder on Etsy. It's pinned to the top of this chat, as well as it's the link of it is in the description that's under this live. So even afterwards, if you're watching this especially on the replay and you can't get to the chat, be sure to check it out in the description box. Vashti, do you want to also say like how else? Because we have some entrepreneurs in the building. We have some, future authors in the building. Hello. I do have a goal for this weekend, for my planner as well. I know Slasher Chick. But where else can they find you with your binder? How have you been getting it out to the public? How have you been marketing it? Just give me 1 second to turn you up.
Great question. So I've done a lot of local events. Just a lot of. I did a wealth seminar where we vended. I see Bertha Potts is on. She had an amazing event. I think that was this year, Bertha. Excuse me if it wasn't. Everything is a flash. I can't believe that today is May 31st. So I've been vending the binder locally, and also just word of mouth, especially in the business of whether I'm coaching someone or they're doing an insurance policy or a power of attorney or a will. I just kind of say, hey, you want to get this binder? So I definitely need to do a little bit more marketing just to kind of get it out here, not to be a secret agent. You can find me on Facebook. I'm Vashti Hale on Facebook. And again, I'm very receptive to any direct messages or any type of, things that's posted on my wall. So yeah, that's how you find me.
Thank you for that. And I know you said that, just trying to turn this down. I know you said that you can be found on Facebook. And for those of you that are content creators on YouTube, I have been trying to convince Vashti to grow her Manage My Success channel. She has a wonderful story to share, not just what she shared now, but a lot of great nuggets. Her and I come from the same school of thought when it comes to life coaching as well as with marketing. So Vashti, that's why I put you center stage so you could tell your story and get used to that, because I think you will be phenomenal.
Thank you.
And I know that all the people in here that are here because of you, in support of you, that they would agree that your voice, your message needs to be told more than once a year or once or twice a year. It needs to, there's people all over the world that perhaps are going through the same thing. There's definitely so many people who are caregivers who need to know about your resource binder. Trust. I'm thinking about my dad. I have started one, for him, but it's like he lives 4 hours away. His things are everywhere. And I know where they are, but how much better would it be to have it in one place where you can quickly grab it? And you're right. If you live in a place where you may have some catastrophes like fire, brimstones, and floods, and hurricanes and tornadoes, and that literally could be anywhere in the country at this point, because Rock Hill just had a huge tornado. Um, you want to be able to assess your things. Don't take it for granted that, oh, I live inland. You just never know what could happen. So I want to thank you for sharing your book. I'm going to go into the chat now and so that you can address all of the people that are here in support of you.
Yay.
I'm trying to scroll all the way up. All right, let's see. And for those of you who don't know Slasher Chick, she's on this challenge with me, 90 days going live every day. And if you're into doing things online, technology, AI, she is that one. She has some great nuggets, definitely ways to streamline and make things more efficient in your everyday life, personally and professionally. So we see Atanya, she said that she's your first cousin. You already had seen that. We have Stephen Means. Thank you for being in the building. And if you want to stop me and say anything to them, you can go ahead. I'm going to put them up and you can address them, okay?
Yes, yes, yes. So I don't want to miss anyone. So I'm just going to say thank you, thank you, thank you. I was when Sherri and I talked last night late. I said, okay, I'll get the word out. And of course, let me just give you your flowers right now, Sherri. Hey, Nikki. That I am just so amazed when you just said, how many years have you been on YouTube?
As of tomorrow, I will be Sweet 16 on
Sweet.
YouTube. I've been doing videos with consistency for the past 4 years.
Yes. Yes. And so, Sherri, I might have to jump on the challenge. I do have a YouTube channel. In fact, I think, what is it, Sherri? Is it Manage My Success? Is that the name of my channel? So Sherri, maybe about a year and a half ago, she's like, do you know that you have those, your YouTube channel? I said, yeah, that was like, many, many, many years and many pounds ago. And again, just I'll be, truthful to y'all, in full transparency. A lot of times we feel like when you're not getting the likes or you're not, necessarily being in a place of seeing, I guess maybe the explosion that some of these other folks get, you get at a place where you're like, oh, does it matter? It does matter. It actually does matter, because how often can you now look and say, like, hey, I told my story? And it's not necessarily for the masses. For me, if I can be in a place that it changes one person's life, my story, or two people's lives, and then they tell somebody to tell somebody, then my work here is done, right? It's not done, because no, I don't have a PhD in life. I always say I don't want that just yet. I know that there's still much more work to be done. So again, I would just, say thank you, thank you, thank you. I saw Maria, I saw Gina, I saw Tanya, I saw Steve, I saw Kiana, Mecca, Maria, Mel, I saw Christy. Yes, I saw just so many of you. So please, please, please. And then Gloria, I saw you. So if I miss anyone, please charge it to the fact that I'm looking without my my readers. I'm over 50. But I am just so grateful for each of you, because everyone that's on this live, that of course that has interacted with me over these last 9 years, whether you met me post stroke or just knew me even prior, it's definitely been a journey, and I'm so grateful for each of you, just for being just true blue. There's times where, hey, Andrea, that, people have just definitely said, hey, you should do this, you should do that. And I'm like, yeah, but, and I came with the, your butt, right? And then, but that's not the case, so if anything, I'm just grateful to be able to be a part of, this community, to be able to be in a place with you, Sherri, and just keep doing what you're doing. And yes, and kind of go from there. I saw Ursula as well. I saw V Crockett all the way from Virginia. So yes, thank you, thank you, thank you, everyone. I am looking forward to continuing to share the story. And even if, if nothing else, I want everyone to walk away, or, click away tonight, being able to, know your numbers, do something for your body that your body thanks you for. Yeah, and all the other good stuff. And Tony, I saw Tony Denson is on there as well. So we go way, way back, Sherri.
Yes. It
Yes,
was so great to see Tony. I said, "Oh my goodness."
yes,
And Be Kind is saying, "I just told my child today that I need to get a waterproof lockbox or some sort of organizer for my personal papers."
yes, yes. Essential. It's essential. And again, it kind of comes down to the place that you never um, realize how much you need it until you need it.
Absolutely. I just want to make sure I get everyone. So many great people. Can you read? Can you see the messages? Can you read them so it's not an echo on my end?
Yes. So I'm getting a lot of accolades. You got the congratulations, Sherri, for your 61. Uh, thank you, thank you, thank you. And Andrea, she says you've always inspired and never lost your smile. And sometimes I always laugh because sometimes it's the sinister smile. You're like, but thank you. And so 20 years, Tony said 20 years, but yeah, 21, right? Well, no, I have to be a little bit. No, Tony, I think it's 22 years because I actually started teaching with Tony before I had Faith, and Faith is 21. So, although I don't know how that can work because I'm only 21, but yeah.
And I see Be Kind is saying she came in late. They came in late. So Be Kind, if you're interested in checking out the resource binder, the link to it is pinned at the top of this chat, or you can find it in the description box under this live once it's up. Um, Listen, Vashti, you are my day one A1 or A1 day one. How does
Yes,
it go?
it's an A1 with you've been my A1
A1
with
since
day one.
A1?
We go back with lumberjacks or something like that, right?
Like we roll like four flats? Do four flats roll?
All right, look.
Listen, but oh my goodness, I'm terrible. But you know what? You know, I love you
I
and
love
I
you more.
appreciate you. And we've always said great things are yet to come. And just like you said, your managed to success, manage, what's the name of your channel?
Manage,
Manage,
manage my success.
right.
Yes.
Right. I'm trying to turn it up and down. Manage My Success channel. It may have one or two videos. They may be old, but the content is still relevant. When I decided 4 years ago, like, you know what? There's so much on this YouTube channel. There's a place for everyone, and there's a place for me. And I said, I'm taking my channel seriously, not just as a viewer, but as a content creator. I had a few videos in my vault that I had uploaded 2009, 2012, just like one or two that, but you know what? That information is still relevant. That's called evergreen information. That will
Evergreen.
never get old. So it's never too late to start. Keep those videos that you have and continue to build on that. I really think you will blow up. You're the next Vashti.
The
I'm
next
not going to
Vashti.
compare it to anyone. But I appreciate you for saying yes, because that's half the battle. you know, some people come up with a lot of excuses and things like that, but you have always been so supportive, and that everything that you do, I'm so proud of you, and you are inspiring. It's like things can happen in life, but you kept it moving, you kept going, you kept taking action, putting one foot in front of the other by the grace of God, for sure. And I appreciate everyone in this live that have come through in support of Vashti, in support of my channel as well, because I know there's some people that came in that have been rocking with me for a while now, and I appreciate that. For those of you that are checking this out on the replay, thank you. If you are really interested and have found value in this video, in this live, in this podcast, because this is going on my podcast playlist as well. If you found value, be sure to hit that subscribe button and the bell for notification. I still have 29 more days at least to go live, but I'll go live even beyond that. This is just a challenge. But my channel is about workforce development, career readiness, entrepreneurship, real life, real issues, and Real talk. And this right here can't get no realer for sure. Again, thank you so much. Remember, you all practice so hard that when you play, you will always play to win. And I'm going to give you the last word, Vashta. I'm going to put you up by yourself. But until next time, everyone, stay safe. And I'm turning it over to Vashta.
All right. I wasn't expecting that, but let me just say thank you all just for not thinking that today was going to be, obviously we had the technical difficulties and that type of thing. You can see how nervous I was because I was not I was not expecting Sherri to, pass me the mic. I probably wouldn't be well as a rapper, but in all sincerity, thank you all just for being here. Love on yourselves. Give yourself, I think I have Regina is on here. I think she said, somebody needs a hug from inside. Give yourself that inside hug. You are your best advocate. And just again, Sherri is an amazing friend, mother, wife. She has 3 college graduates now. And just subscribe and follow her. She's got some great content. And just have an amazing weekend on purpose. And I will see you all soon. Thank you again.